welcome to the Pamela Show, where we learn together and we grow together. Now, before I introduce this most amazing guest that we are privileged to have on the show today, I'm going to give you one of his quotes. There's so many, but you know what? One of my favorites is this, that there is greatness in you and that you are a masterpiece because you, friend, are a piece of the master. I believe that you deep down inside know that about yourself, and you are going to be empowered and inspired today to take action on that greatness, because that masterpiece, that greatness in you, the world needs to see it and experience it and hear it. And so today's guest is going to empower you to shout it out and do just that. And you're going to hear a little bit about his life story as well. So with no further ado, I am going to introduce to you the legendary Mr. Les Brown.
There's something in you that says, I can do more.
Before the world ever knew or started using the word influencer, this man was influencing the world.
You have something special. You have greatness within you.
The godfather of greatness himself, Mr. Les Brown.
If you want to do anything worthwhile in life, you've got to be hungry.
Imagine being able to work with him on a weekly basis in live workshops. There are people that have already taken advantage of this opportunity, and he is creating amazing speakers around the world.
Every day that we wake up and we overcome the trials and tribulations that come our way, make us more than conquerors.
You got to look your haters in the eye. You got to look your situation in the eye.
They're living a legendary life because they're committed to be a legend.
I chose to tune out the noise of the problem that I was facing and tune in to the possibility that those voices were giving me.
Their stories are changing lives, not only for their families, their friends, but in their community and ultimately in the world.
Write a new story, one of victory, resilience, and accountability.
So no matter where you are right now in your life, I want to encourage you to pull those dreams off the shelf. Dust them off. Get a plan of action together and execute on that plan like your life depends on it.
You can become a part of this Power Voice Summit community and be a part of the Power Voice system by just going to powervoicetraining.com. There are people that have already taken advantage of this opportunity. Get started today.
Hello, Mr. Brown.
Hello, Pamela. How are you?
I am I'm fabulous. I have you here with me, sir.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. It's a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege.
Yes, and back at you, sir. And to all of us that get to be with you today, thank you for being on the Pamela Show. Well, I don't think you need any further introduction, but is there anything else that you want to share before we jump into some questions that I have for you today?
No, I think that's very good. That's the only time I get nervous is during the introduction because I don't think I'm all that. I'm just cornbread.
Oh, gosh. Now, listen, Mr. Cornbread, you are not just cornbread. You are the full meal deal supersized, okay?
All right.
That's who you are. Well, Mr. Brown, you have been someone that has spoke to my heart for years and years, as I've shared with you, and you've inspired myself, my children, my family. There's a lot of things that we have in familiarity to one another. One of them is adoption. Mm-hmm. And my husband was adopted. We adopted all of our children. And I know that you openly talk about adoption and how proud you are of that, being an adopted child, and how you were able to take care of your mom. But recently, you have had what I call a full circle season, where you have been reintroduced to biological family. And I know how much of a treasure that is when that reconnect is made. And I was wondering, could you share with us your journey and tell us what's going on? Because it's really exciting news and it's going to encourage so many.
It's a new narrative for my life. And I want to thank you so much for having this program and for the role that you've taken with your life to use your life to bring light where there's darkness, to speak and help people who have lost hope and let them know that there is a way and that this has not come to stay. It has come to change, that we will get through this. It has come to pass, that we are stronger than anything that life throws at us. So congratulations to you for this great work. You're doing the greater work, and that's why we're here. This past weekend, here I am, February 17th, I turned 76. Now, I used to think people in their 40s were old, but now I'm 76, which means I served at the Lord's Supper. And my oldest son said, Dad, I found your birth family. I said, you gotta be kidding. No. Make a long story short, we followed up with the leads he gave us. And for the first time this past weekend, I saw a picture of my birth mother and father. I'm 76. I met two brothers that I'd never known before. And it has been a disarming and tears of gratitude experience. My birth mother, her name was Dorothy Bell Rucker. She was a motivational speaker. You can't make this stuff up. My grandmother, her name was Beulah Rucker. She was a motivational speaker and an educator. And they have the Beulah Museum in Gainesville, Georgia, where I'm going this weekend to meet the family, my birth family on my father's side. And it's just to meet them and hear stories about my birth mother and father has been fascinating. And it's, you know, there's some things they say you get through nurture and through nature. And I now found how I got my voice from, why I do what I do. I have what I call the can't helps it. I can't help it. I just got to do it. So you know, one of the things I want you to know, Pamela, did she ever see me speak?
Yeah.
And did she know me? And I'm so glad that whenever I opened my speech, I said, I was born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida. So they said she always was doing research on speakers, so she had to know about me. And I said, God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. So, and I said, and Mrs. Mamie Brown, she had a third grade education and she's a domestic worker on Miami Beach. Now, I know she had to remember the woman that she gave her twins to.
Sure.
And said, take good care of my boys. Now, this is going to get you, Pamela. I'm reading this article about my grandmother, and she wanted to learn to read. They didn't have schools for Black people in Gainesville. And so she taught herself to read by looking at the newspapers they used to stuff the walls to keep the cold air out during the winter. And the article about her said she was hungry to learn. And my book is entitled, You Gotta Be Hungry. Come on. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
No.
And she went to this, she was able to go to San Diego State College, and she had no money. And she stood before the head of the school and said, when he asked for money, she held her hands out and said, these hands can work. And they told her to get out of line and call the next person. She came back after the crowd got shorter, and she came back again and said, "These hands can work." And I believe that he saw something in her, some determination that she's not going to be denied. And he hired her to do work for him, milking cows, sharecropping, and doing work for the other professors at the college. And she graduated with honors and went on to start the Beulah Rucker Center for Education. And it's been fascinating to see the story and to hear the stories about her and to read about her. It's a new story. I have a new narrative. You know, Forrest Gump was right. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's all I got to say about that.
Mr. Brown. Now, Mr. Brown, you said that you had hoped she had seen you speak.
Yes.
Did she?
I think so. Everyone who knows her said she was always doing research and she was fascinated with speakers. I remember, and I just remembered this night before last at 2:30, I woke up and something came to me. When I was 1992, I was touring with my book called You Have the Power to Live Your Dream. And when people were asking for my autograph, there was a couple that came and stood and watched me and did not approach me. And when the crowd, they died down, this lady came up and said, "Here, hold your hand out, please, sir." I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she put a picture in my hand, a real small picture. And she said, "Look at this when you get a chance." I just walked away. And I opened my hand. I said, "Oh my God, this is a picture of me and my twin brother when we were babies." And I asked her, I said, "Hey, ma'am, how did you get this?" And she just turned around and she waved. And Pamela, I know that was her.
Yeah.
I know. Atlanta is only an hour away from Gainesville. And I know that was my mother who came to my book signing and gave me a picture of myself to let me know who she was. I know that was her. Yeah,
Yes.
That's the only encounter.
How ironic, how supernatural, how God-given that you would awaken with that memory now.
Yeah, they said the angels wake you up between 2:30 and 3:30. Now, I've given the angels permission to wake me up around 5 o'clock, but they have not been listening to me. But I wake up now, and I think they say this is what old people do. I say, well, I'm not old. I'm a 35-year-old man trapped in a 76-year-old body.
Well,
So, yeah, it's been humbling. You know, Betty Davis said, "Old age ain't for wimps."
yes, she did say that.
Yes.
Well, you are timeless, Mr. Brown, at any age. So just remember that. And it doesn't sound to me like that was old age waking you up. I think that was the angels waking you up. It sounds like there was somebody in heaven that wanted you to know that your birth mother had seen you, because now you were about to see her face, because you've seen her face. You saw a picture of her, right?
Yes, and it's been fascinating. And they put some pictures side by side and said it would be criminal for anybody to deny that she is my mother. So I've been working on a song, and I'm taking singing lessons. And the song goes like, "I've got two mothers and I'm not ashamed. I got two mothers and I love them just the same. Let me tell you about my birth mother." Now, I won't sing anymore because I have a voice really like Johnny Mathis, so you're probably faint. So I won't go there with you, but I'll send you the finished version.
Thank you. I love it. I love it. And I think what a precious woman to have seen you, because I believe that was her, and not intervene and interrupt your life, but to trust in God to bring things about in his liking. And that right now is that perfect time. It is that perfect time for you. How exciting, Mr. Brown. My heart is filled with joy for you. Just
Thank
filled with joy for you. I know how important those biological connections are and how they give a grounding to any human being, no matter what age you are. When you have that, it just brings pieces together, doesn't it? Like why you might be a public speaker, or you look the way you do, or you laugh the way you laugh, or any of those type of things. It brings answers, and I just think it's a settling in a person's inner being. So I'm super excited for you. But another question that I had surrounding all of this is, you are always telling us at the Power Voice, and you've said it so many times, speakers speak, and that when you use your voice, you're gonna help somebody, you're gonna bring life to somebody, you're gonna speak truths, and you're gonna help people. And that now with technology as it is, right? I mean, here we are doing a StreamYard television show together. I mean, the technology is amazing, and you have always used it. At every level of your career, you've used what was available to you. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is a testament of how your power voice has echoed across decades and generations, because your birth mother saw you. And then because of all that you're doing with your Power Voice, the Academy, the teachings, everything that you're doing, now this story has come full circle, and you are sharing it, and all the people's lives that are going to be touched, because you won't hold it in, you'll share it and let God get the glory out of it. Like it's a living example of everything that you've been telling us. And so I just wanted to ask you if you would expound on that, on the Power Voice and technology, and how all of that kind of wrapped up together how has that affected what's happening in your life right now?
Well, thank you for that question, because it's really a blessing. When I wake up in the morning, I say all things work together for good, for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. Now I'm giving speeches from home. Now I'm earning more money from home than traveling from city to city, from country to country, because we've gone from brick and mortar, as you know, to click and order. And so this is a time that we have the ability, with all the tools that we have, to do more than we can ever begin to imagine, to live a life of contribution. Horace Mann said, we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. And to make it in and out of this pandemic, we need programs like yours, The Voice, an example that you provide, because people need mental resolve. They need hope. When there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. And they need tools. They've got to throw their net on the other side on how to navigate this new place where we are. And they need to be a part of a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. You can't make it by yourself. And so now, more than ever, the things that you are thinking about, this is a time for you to create. We were created by the Creator to create, to reinvent ourselves, to recreate ourselves, to rethink our lives. And the tools, just like you're doing with this program, that you have decided, I'm going to create a program that's going to make a difference in people's lives. And it's doing that. And you're going to reach people that you will never see, never meet. but you will be able to transform their lives, because I believe that all of us have an energy signature behind our voice. There's some people, when you speak, that only you will reach them. When I speak, only I will reach them. And then some people, they will hear both of us. But there's a reason why the Jewish carpenter said, he who has ear, let him hear. When I met my three brothers, it's interesting how people can come from the same place and end up dramatically different. I'm the only one, and my brothers said this, you're just like her. And I wanted to ask them, why aren't you? What happened? What did I see that you did not see that caused me to be like you? Were raised in the house with her. I never saw her. I never heard her voice. And here I am living the same kind of life that she lived. My grandmother, my mother, our mother. How is that? I didn't ask him that, but I wonder, how that kids coming from the same parents can be in the same house and end up dramatically different. One of the mysteries of life, because life is full of disruptions. It's full of transformations that we have to go through to accommodate the disruptions and the decisions that we make. We make decisions, and our decisions make us. And so you decided, you know what I'm doing is not enough. I want to expand the purpose of why I'm here. I was created on purpose with a purpose, and I want to live my life from that place. Yeah. And you set out to do that, and you got Nicole who's helping you to do that, and other people that have joined your team. And so we're engaged in doing the greater work. We're answering the call on what we are doing. A job is what you get paid for. A calling is what you're made for. So you're living your calling. Come on, somebody.
Well, yes, amen.
Yes.
That's right. That is so true.
Wow, what an incredible interview with the legendary Les Brown. Did you catch that line? Work is what you are paid for, but a calling is what you were made for. That is so powerful. Now, next week, we have part 2 of this interview with the legendary Les Brown, where he's going to pick up right from that statement. So I'm inviting you back for part 2 with Mr. Brown, and I am looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you for being with me today. I know you have learned a lot, because I have. So remember, be the salt and the light everywhere you go. See you next week on The Pamela Show.
Pamela Henkel is the founder of the Purpose Center. Pamela is a mindset mentor, author, speaker, minister, and transformation coach. Her weekly podcast, international radio show, and television show are a lifeline that changes lives and inspires people to discover their individual potential through realizing their purpose by design. Pamela is a natural motivator and has shown many how to find their niche and transform their lives. Although success is an uphill battle, Pamela gives the necessary strategies to flourish, cheering you on every step of the way. Pamela shares from her personal experiences, education, and life as a woman in leadership, utilizing decades of knowledge. Taking the approach of, let's have coffee and chat, she will awaken your dreams and purpose by design. Are you ready for Pamela to help guide you? Email us at purposewpamela.office@gmail.com or go to her website at purposewithpamela.com.